All right, welcome to this lesson on factoring polynomials by grouping. So this is really going to set us up nicely for kind of the bulk of this outcome, which is factoring trinomials, but we need to first learn to factor by grouping. So factoring by grouping, we use it when we have four terms and there's no greatest common factor to come out, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to group the first two terms and group the last two terms. I've got the steps over here on the side. Take the GCF out of each, factor out the brackets, and then we'll end up with two binomial answers, okay? So let's go through an example together. So we're going to group the first two, group the last two. We're going to include the sign with that second group. Now I want to look primarily at the first grouping, and you want to find a common factor in those things. So if we look at the numbers 10 and 14, I can take out a 2 there. And if I look at my letters, I can take an X. Okay, when I do that, what I will be left with from this first grouping is 5y plus 7. Okay, then you're going to look at your second grouping, so the second grouping, and you're going to take a common factor from that second grouping. So if I look at the numbers 15 and 21, I can take a 3 out of there. So, and I'm always going to take the sign of that first term. So I'm going to take plus 3. And when I do that, I will be left with 5y plus 7. Now, what you'll notice, and this should always be the case, is that these brackets are the same. That's a check. If they're not the same, you've got an error. So now really what I have here is this is a term and this is a term. Those two terms have a common factor of 5y plus 7. So if we take that 5y plus 7 and take it out as a common factor, so I write down 5y plus 7 as my common factor. Now in this first grouping, if that 5y plus 7 is gone, I have 2x. And in the second group, if the 5y plus 7 is gone, I have 3. So you can see that I have two binomials. If you wanted to check this, you could go ahead and distribute. 5y times 2x will give you your 10xy. 5y times 3 is 15y. 7 times 2x is 14x, and 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, let's do the next one. So we're going to group the first two, group the second two. Looking at the first two terms, there's no number that can come out, but I can take an m squared. And when I do that, I will have m minus 1. In the second group, I'm going to take a positive 2 because we always take the sign of that first group. That'll leave me with m minus 1. The common, if I have these two groups, the common factor in those groups is m minus 1. And if they're gone from both of those groups, I'm left with m squared plus 2. So there's my two binomials. All right, you try 10xz minus 65x plus 8yz minus 52. So you try factoring that one by grouping. Pause the video, go ahead and do it, and come back and check your answer. Okay, so when I factor 10xz minus 65x plus 8yz minus 52y, I end up with 2z minus 13 times 5x plus 4y. So that is factoring by grouping. If you still need some more practice questions, call me over and I will help you. Otherwise, go ahead and start the practice questions now.